Listen. To all of my people, to all of my African people.
I am gonna be all I can be. I am gonna be all I can be. I am gonna be all I can be. I am going to be all I can be.
You say it.
I am gonna be all I can be.
Hello, my name is Jay Sean Gaddy, and this is the Voice of Brain Injury. Today, I have with me two of the most special people in my life, my mom and dad, Mary Gaddy Gaskins and Archie Gaskins. How are y'all doing today?
Doing very well. Glad to be here.
Okay, so I know the time period of my injury was a life-changing event. So do y'all recall exactly what happened and what was going on during that time?
Somewhat. You were in your senior year at East Carolina. You were doing very well. I was still working. Your dad was in the Air National Guard. It was going quite a bit. But during that time is when you start having some issues with headaches and stuff. So we wasn't sure what was going on at that time. But I know as your younger days, you had headaches. So we thought everything was okay, not knowing. But other than that, we had no idea that you were as sick as you were. And this thing happened. So it was like a shock to us also.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been a long time, and you came a long ways. There are a lot of good things that's happened, and you had a passion, and you're still going on with your passion. It changed the way you had to do things and how long it took you to do things, but you're still accomplishing everything that you struck out to do. And we're very proud of you.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Dad, tell me about when it happened. Like, what are some of the things that, like, did you know, when it happened? Like, what exactly happened with me?
Well, Jay, I'm going to piggyback on what your mom was saying, was that as a kid, you did have headaches. And as a kid, I had headaches coming up. And as I grew older, I grew out of them, and I don't have headaches anymore. But I do remember, and I think your mom do too, us taking you to have a CAT scan on your head and everything when you was complaining about it. But that seemed, they didn't see anything at the time. So, yeah, this thing was a big shock to us. And when you talk about life changing, that's really putting it mildly, because this thing was really big. I mean, when you think about getting a phone call at night and saying your child is in the hospital and we didn't know what was going on, and you're almost 5 hours away, and we got up and drove all night long to get to East Carolina. If anybody know where East Carolina is, that's not a little short drive.
Oh, especially back then.
But it was just so miraculous how I guess you kept pushing yourself and you kept wanting to do it. And I guess the thing that got me most is that once you got through your rehab and your little stages, you did not want to stop. You want to get your license, you want to go back to school, and you went back to school. But then you wanted to graduate from East Carolina, and that was something that we had a problem with. We said, we ain't going back to East Carolina, But that's where you wanted. You went to UNCC, and they were going to give you your 4-year certificate. I mean, your bachelor's degree from there. But you wanted to come from East Carolina, so that's what we did, and that's the reason we keep really helping it, because of the fact you're never giving up. And I tell you, to me, you're a lot stronger than I am.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. And so, okay, so I graduated college now. So what are some of the things that y'all did to, with the vocational services to help me, I guess, to progress more? So like, what was the next stages? Okay, I graduated college. Now, what was the first thing that y'all worked with vocational services with?
Let me let your mom talk about that, because she took care of a lot of that leg work and groundwork to get you into every kind of course and whatever needed rehabilitation it was. So I'll let your mom talk on that.
It was quite a job. first we had to go with the doctors. The doctors recommended different people for you, for us to take you to speak to. Then she also let us know that there's help out there for you, and you can still do these things. She made a point to tell me that things would be different, but he could still do anything that he wanted to do. But she said with vocational services, you have to go step by step. First, we had to go and get signed up for vocational services. It was certain things that they told us that we had to do that I didn't agree with. So I went back to your vocational service doctor, and she said, just hold up a little bit. And then she sent me back to vocational services again, and I got another, representative. And she was able to help me more than anything. And she talked about jobs. The first thing was to get you into driving again, and they made it possible for you to have a driving class. After the driving class, she set you up with a job coach. After your job coach, it was hard. They sent you to places with jobs that you couldn't do. And then if someone knew someone at the radio/TV station that was a good friend, and they sent you there for an interview, and you were accepted as an intern. So you did internship at the radio/TV station.
This was at WBT.
WBT,
Intercom now.
yes.
Yeah.
Probably 7 or 8 years.
A long time.
A long time. And then finally they decided to hire you. But in that process, they had to do a lot of modifying. They had to change stuff that you could do it the way that you knew how to do it best. They had to do some, they had to kind of create a job for you.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
But these are things that you had went to school for. And you had the qualifications. These are things that you were familiar with, but you had to do them a different way. So they had to do a lot of modifications.
And talking about going to school for, how was that process, that year and a half when I was at ECU? How were you dealing with that?
It was a hard task, and we did a lot of running. But you also, what was the amazing thing with going back to East Carolina, you had friends that had graduated before you went back, and those same friends came back to get their masters, and they were there to help you. So with saying that, I felt a whole lot better because I didn't worry about you as much. But they were there for you at every turn. Anything you needed, they were there. You also were able to get back into the same apartment that you were staying in before you had your aneurysm.
Yep.
And the same manager was there, so he assured us that he would check on you every day. So this is a lot of stuff that happened that was put in place that gave us some comfort. But it was still kind of worrisome, and we did a lot of riding, but we made sure that everything was okay.
So, like, do you remember, like, the process of what did y'all do, as far as applying back? Like, how, like, I don't remember, like, I didn't do it. I don't think I did help with this process. I think y'all did as far as what exactly did y'all do for me to enroll back in East Carolina again?
Vocational services.
Oh, okay. So
Your rehab doctor reached out to vocational services, and this is one of the things that they do. Help you get back to where you were, and you wanted to go back to school, and your doctor signed off on it and say, I don't see why he couldn't go back to school.
Oh, okay. So vocational services pretty much helps with everything. They help with my driving. They help with schooling.
Absolutely.
They help with work.
Absolutely.
Wow. So that's a huge help for real. and
Yes,
everything.
it was there because we did not know where to go to get help. We did not know where to go to get you what you needed. We had a lot of people giving us suggestions and recommendations, but they couldn't get us what you needed. Well, with dealing with Carolina Rehab and Atrium now, they were able to put you in the right place to get you the help that you needed.
So, Dad, what are some of the things that your experience with vocational services? I know because you're basically my chauffeur. You know, pretty much because I think early, I think Mom was still working, and y'all both was working, and so it was having to do a lot. So I know, and the thing is, the early years was probably the most engagement which y'all have to do. You know, so How was it for you?
Well, when I think about it, and I was just listening to your mom talk, this thing was almost like a three-step process. And what had happened was that you went back to school after you got through with your vocational people, and you started off at CPCC.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Then after you got through the courses with the CPCC, then you went to UNCC.
Yep. A whole
And
year.
so you did the courses that you needed then because, and what that did, that kept everything you was doing at East Carolina going, and you didn't lose any credits or anything.
Do you remember that actually I was in the graduation program because they were actually I actually completed one concentration and my name was in the graduation program,
Right, yeah.
but I wanted to go back to finish up the production.
And-
It's not the performance, just not the performance.
Right, and you did, and
Yeah.
that was a good time there.
Yeah.
A lot of things people don't know when you talk about life changing, and I get a little touched when I talk about this, is that all of a sudden you got a 21-year-old kid that you're treating like a baby. I'm carrying him around in my arms. I'm washing him. I'm feeding him. He could not even see. He couldn't talk. Couldn't walk. And didn't know anything hardly. And so this was the thing that really changed our lives.
Hello, this is Jay Sean Gaddy, and this is the voice of brain injury, and we'll be back after the break. Arturo Williams was a clinical nursing assistant before becoming a nurse at Novant Health in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. He was also recently featured on WXII news segment as they celebrated community champions during Black History Month. Arturo describes his journey within the medical field as a true blessing. Arturo also wants people to know representation matters, especially in medicine. Arturo Williams is also a brain injury survivor, and this is his story.
Hi, I'm Arturo Williams, and today I'd like to speak with you about traumatic brain injury. In 2008, I was at home with a friend engaged in some activity, and I felt something pop in my head. So I proceeded to the restroom, looked in the mirror, and saw myself swaying, kind of like that. So immediately, I asked my friend, please take me to the hospital, something's wrong. I'd never felt anything like that before at all, only high blood pressure, which I wasn't keeping check on at that time. When I got to the hospital, luckily, it was close to my home at the time. They immediately took me back. I was diaphoretic, meaning I was sweating profusely. Blood pressure 235 over 145. They immediately took me back. The doctor said, look, does your head hurt? I said, yes. 0 to 10. I said 10. Pain is nothing to me, but this hurt. I had an IV in my arm already. They had already placed. They gave me a shot of Dilaudid. Pain went away. He sent me for an MRI and a CAT scan. Brought me back afterward. Said, sir, you're having a subarachnoid hemorrhage right now. You have a bleed on your brain. Would you like to have surgery? I said, yes, of course. So I signed my consent, called my family, and they did what was called a coiling surgery. That surgery is where they go in through your groin and shoot coils up to stop the bleed. Until this day, I never really have headaches, but if I ever get one, best believe I'm going to check on it. The first steps to being proactive is, if something happens that you never felt before, seek treatment. Take all your blood pressure medications if you have high blood pressure. Make sure you keep a track of it. See your personal care provider. Make sure you visit an urgent care if you don't have one, if your blood pressure's up. Maintain your proper diet. Drink plenty of water. Stay away from a bunch of salt. Stay out of the sun that way. Don't stress too much. And if anything ever happens, go straight to the ED. It's no harm in being seen. You never know what could be happening. Me being self-aware and knowing some symptoms and signs probably saved my life. I thank God that I was. Be blessed.
Hello, this is Jay Sean Gaddy and the voice of brain injury. I just finished talking to my mom and dad in the last segment, but today and right now I'm going to be talking to my sister and my nephew Marcus and my sister Tina, Alicia Reed, and my buddy and her friend Steve. How y'all doing today?
Doing awesome.
Now, Tina,
Yes.
that's why I call her Tina, because that's why everybody, if you really close to her, everybody know about Tina or whatever.
Exactly.
Now, this is my road dog and everything. So tell me a little bit about who I was before the injury.
Oh my gosh. So, Jay Sean is my little brother, and we hung out all the time when he was little.
Oh.
And when people would see us together, and they was like, I know that's your baby. And I was like, no, it's not. That's my mama's baby. But yeah, he was like mine. So we hung out a lot. So we did a lot of things together. We went to the movies. We went to the park. Just really outgoing and just a kind person, and always just no trouble at all. Never cried, never complained. We go to the bookstore, hang out, buy books, and you were just really cool.
Yeah.
Still are.
I think I remember every single movie that we went to. It's so crazy. I actually remember the movies.
Yeah.
RoboCop, Garbage Pail Kids. I could go on and on, but it was such a great time. And I mean, it was always like that. Our relationship was always that for on and on. So tell me exactly when you heard the news about my injury.
Okay. Well, at the time, I was teaching school, and I was at home, and Mom called. And she was on the phone, and she said, something was going on with you. She said, something's going on with Jay. And I just remember being on the phone, and all I remember Mom was saying, my baby, my baby, my baby. And I said, well, Mom, well, what's going on? And she wasn't quite sure. Mm-hmm. And so I know we stayed on the phone at least 2 hours. And once we got in touch with Dad, then I was able to let her go. But we just stayed on the phone, and we really didn't know. And we just talked and we talked and we talked through it, and we cried and we cried. But once Dad got home and he was able to take over, I hung up and I said, I'm on my way. Mm-hmm. And so I live in Winston-Salem, so I packed up Marcus, and we got in the car. And
now, how old was Marcus at that time?
I think Marcus was three, about 3 years old.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And we put him in the car, and we drove to Charlotte, and we got there, and I remember riding down the highway to come to you.
Right, yeah. Right. And so what was your expectations about what was going on? Because since you didn't know exactly what it was, what was your expectation? What was you thinking, like, did he break a leg or something? Or
Well, we knew it was a little more concerning than that.
Mm-hmm.
Just talking to Mom and just your friends contacting and talking to doctors and things like that on the phone after she was able to get someone.
Okay.
But we knew you were going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
We knew you were going to be okay. And we just needed to get there to you. And we
Right.
did.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, and so how like so okay, so you get there, and so what was some of the things that you noticed? Like when I like how were you able to see me?
No, we were not able to see you, but when we got there, your friends were there.
Okay.
And they were all in that hospital praying for you. Was there. I know that the next thing that happened was they had to move you to a different hospital.
Oh, so this was in Greenville. Okay.
They had to move you to a different hospital, and I remember riding back with mom and dad, and it was a quiet ride. And but we got back. You got moved to Charlotte, and when you got there, I called my job and said I just need to be with you guys, be with mom and dad. And so I took some time off. My boss was very supportive. She was like, "You do what you need to do for your family." But yeah, we didn't get to see you right away because
Okay.
mom and dad did. But I saw you later.
Okay. So do you remember the time or period where I actually woke up? Were you there? Or
I was not in the room, but I was.
you were still in Charlotte?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And everything. So what was your reaction? What feelings did that? Yeah.
It was joy. It was joy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you were here. As long as you're here, you still have a chance. So
Mm-hmm.
it was joy to see you, and it wasn't in a good state, but you
Mm-hmm.
were here. So we just prayed, and we loved on each other, and slept in the lobby.
Uh-huh.
Did what we need to do. Took Marcus to the playground at the hospital.
Yeah. So talking about Marcus, now it's so crazy because you were so baby, so basically you're only gonna know me as a brain injury survivor.
Yeah.
And stuff too. But I think you knowing that helped you become such a caregiver and such a great assistance. I mean, he helps me do so much stuff. He's almost more advanced than kids. He opens the door, he opens the car, he picks up, I mean, everything. And it was instilled with him because of, that's all he know. With me is my injury and stuff too. So, and Steve, what was did Tina tell you about my injury?
Well, Jay, first I want to say, as I call you affectionately Jay, as my little brother, Tina and I talk about most everything all the time. And in the beginning, when she talked about your injury, I was looking forward to meeting all you guys coming into this family. And when I met you, I didn't see any of that. If she didn't tell me, I wouldn't have known.
Right.
Because I choose to look at favoring people over fault. And from the first day I met you, man, we just joked like we'd always known each other. And over the course, man, I'm really proud of you, man, because what I see in you, Jay, is a fighter.
Thank you.
I played football, man, in college and everything, and I saw guys with lesser injuries just quit and give up on life. But to know what you have fought through, son, and continue to fight through, I am honored to be sitting here right now, man, because just saying that fight in a human being, period, but knowing it's someone I'm connected to. You and I talk, man, a lot more than anybody else probably. We
Right.
call each other, text once or
Yeah.
twice a week, and we keep that
We do.
between you and I. But we talk about almost anything. But we never talk about anything about your injury or what you've been through or anything like that, man. We just talk as boys.
Yep.
Of course, I got to bother you about that fraternity thing. But,
Of course,
we
yeah.
good there. So,
Your house broken, 'cause,
Yeah,
we
man,
we let
okay.
dogs in the house
Yeah,
in the
well,
studio this
we,
time.
we walk proudly.
Yeah.
But anyway, man, I'm just proud to be here, and I'm so proud to be a part of this family because there are such unique people in this family. And I love you, brother. And ain't nothing you can do about it.
All right. And
So I thank you for being here.
thank you, Steve. And closing up for a little bit, we're going to have you, Marcus. You want to say anything? I know you made a huge. You do more than you could for me than you can even imagine. You're just so, and it's just so second nature. But I'll let you talk. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's been really it's been really, like, it's been nice to help you a lot. Like, it's been a learning experience. Like, it's really helped me sort of, I don't know, like, open up a little bit.
Right.
And it's helped me sort of empathize with people a lot better.
Right. Yeah.
And, like, being a lot more patient.
You're right. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, big sis, big bro, little nephew, or whatever. I'm glad that y'all were actually able to talk a little bit about y'all experience with, you know, me and brain injury and stuff. And so this is Jay Sean Gaddy, and this is the voice of brain injury. And y'all have a great day. Have a good one.